Hello, hello. All right, I am live. I'll invite a few people. So for those that are new, I'm Rowan Ravenwolf to be exact, and it is Tuesday Tarot with me. Tonight is a night that I do one card readings, and I'll kind of give you a couple little tarot facts. I will go until there's no more questions, so it could be like 30 minutes, it could be an hour. We'll just until there's no more questions, so it could be like 30 minutes, it could be an hour. We'll just kind of just making sure I got everything shared where it's supposed to. If you are new to my channel, this is a spiritual safe place. So I do ask that everybody be polite to one another and be nice. It is Tuesday Tarot, which means it is one card readings. So if you have a burning question that you would like an answer to with tarot, I will pull a one card for you and see what your answer is. You can also, if you follow me, you can see that I try to do the daily tarot card for everybody, and I usually see like what kind of energy we're going to have or what our expectations can be for the day. So watch for that as you follow me and join in. So if you have a question, I'm going to keep my eye on the chat. There is the potential that I could miss your question, so I will keep as close an eye as I can. I may have my moderator might join me tonight, so if he joins, that will help me out. But yes, if you ask and you see your question scroll up really fast, go ahead and post your question again. And actually, I'm going to switch from tarot. I'm going to pull a Lenormand, or not Lenormand. I'm going to pull a Dark Goddess card. I love this deck. This is an oracle card by Barbara Micklejohn Free and Flava Kate Peters. I should have their names memorized by now. Both are amazing witches. They are from Scotland. They have quite a few oracle decks and some beautiful books out. So if you are into witchcraft, they are amazing, amazing witches. So I'm just going to kind of pull a card to see what goddess is going to be with us for the next week. Let's see which goddess is going to be with us and what energy we can expect for the next week as we progress. And we have, a lot of things going on. We're Venus is in retrograde, so sometimes that can bring a little bit of a different energy to us. So let's see which goddess is with us today. Wow, we have Oa. Oa is our goddess today. And she's for deliverance. So she's going to help us through any hardships. That's one thing I like about the dark goddesses is they've dealt with some of the worst stuff that you can deal with, and they made it through. So if you ever are interested, and I'm actually teaching a class on several dark goddesses this month. So if you are interested in taking any classes from me, that is actually in my bio. You can click the links in my bio and it will give you the information to my Dark Goddesses class. So please feel free. In the meantime, if you're new, don't forget to subscribe. Give me a couple hearts so that I can bump up here in the tarot TikTok algorithms. And if you have a tarot question that you would like answered, I'm doing one card pulls tonight. So feel free to put your question in there. Your tarot question, or if you have questions on tarot readings. So while I wait for a question, instead of shuffling the whole entire time, one thing I get asked quite frequently, and I actually talked to somebody just the other day, is they asked me, how do you pull a tarot deck? Or how do you pick a tarot deck? And it is really hard because there's a lot of really great decks out there. Most decks are based off of the Rider-Waite. So this is my Rider-Waite deck that's in Romanian. It does come in every single language, so you can get it in French, you can get it in every language. So it came out in 1906, so it's been out for a while. The artwork, as you can see, it's beautiful artwork for the time period, by Pamela Coleman Smith. And this is the deck that most tarot classes are based off of, and most tarot decks are based off of. Not all tarot decks are based off of it, but it's kind of the go-to deck. So if you plan on taking a tarot class, whether you take it from me or another tarot reader, most of the time the tarot teachers are going to tell you to get this deck. Now, when I teach, I say you can get this deck. However, I give, yes, Eve, go ahead. You just want a general one? Okay. So before I pull a general reading for Eve, I'm going to just say I actually have a huge handout that has the picture of each tarot, each of the Rider-Waite. So if you are interested, you can take class. In class, you will get a giant handout. But Eve just wants a general card reading. All right, Eve. So what can you expect? We're just gonna do it like that. Cut the deck. So what you can expect. Wow, we've got the Two of Swords in reverse. So somebody you're close to, you guys might be having communication difficulties. So what I would recommend is, what do you need to talk to the person about? Now, this could be a lover. It could be a friend. It could be a family member. So figure out what it is you need to talk to them about. And then sometimes we have to delicately approach people. So it might be something that they're going to get really upset about. So you just need to find a way to approach them in a soft manner. So take some time, figure out what it is you need to talk to them about in a soft way to approach them, and be very compassionate and loving to them. Let them hear you. And sometimes it helps. Like I've started, well, I shouldn't say started, for a while. I've been saying, when I just need to talk to somebody, I need to be heard. So I need you to listen. Because sometimes we do need to remind people that we love in our lives, whether they're friends or family or like lovers. We need to remind them of that. Because a lot of times as people, we want to give advice and we want to tell them what they should do instead of listening. So tell them that you need to be heard. And then when you're done telling them what you need to talk about, then ask them to share and say, now it's time for me to hear you. So that's what I'm kind of getting from this. Again, it could even be a coworker, so keep that in mind. But it's somebody in your life, and it's just something that you need to talk to them about. So that was, I hope that helps. So I get a little dry and I've talked a lot today. So I go live first on YouTube, and then I teach a class, and then I come here and go live. So I do get a little dry. Oh, wonderful. I'm so glad. See, tarot always makes sense. So yes, I'm so glad you like that. And keep in mind, I'm here every Tuesday at the same time. So if you need a follow-up next week, feel free to come back. So for those who are joining, because I see people joining and coming and going, and I know that happens, it is Tuesday Tarot. Please feel free to share the live, and don't forget to follow me. And like this video. That helps tremendously if you like the video. And my moderator has arrived, so I'm going to plop him up here. Welcome, welcome, Azrael.
Good evening.
So those that are new, Azrael is my friend. So
I'm here. I'm here. Sorry, Emily. I'm commuting, so I got my chauffeur driving. So just so you know.
Yep, because I go on a little early for you. I'm an early riser, so my job that supports my household is my early morning. My fun job, which is teaching classes and reading tarot and all that, is my afternoon. So it's the joy of work. Well, okay, I love this part. So for those that are just joining, because I see we've had like a fluctuation of people, I am Rowan. Azrael is my fabulous friend and moderator. And tonight is Tuesday Tarot. So if you have a question, a burning question that you want to ask and get a tarot reading for, it is 1-card readings tonight. And I'd love to pull a card for you. Even if you just have a question about tarot or divination in general. So I did talk a little bit about picking cards, and I did stop for a second. So I did talk about the Rider-Waite deck and how most decks are Rider-Waite based. So if you're taking a class, most of your teachers will ask you to have this deck. I recommend the deck. However, because I have like this giant book I give my students, you don't necessarily have to have this deck. You can pick one that resonates with you. So when you're picking a deck, pick a deck that resonates with you. You know, sometimes we have to pick it by certain things, you know, but pick one that resonates. You can go by the artwork, you can go by the author, the artist, whatever. My favorite deck is trying to find the top, the Shadowscapes Tarot. This is the one I read with the very most. I actually have 2 of them, but so these are the cards. They're just really fun. Just super, super fun cards. I really like these cards. So I have also the Witch's Tarot. This is a fun deck also. This one's by Ellen Duggan. I have like probably, I would say, I think I have 80 tarot decks. So some of them I bought just for the artwork and some of them I read with. So it just really depends. Sometimes like you will see me reading with different decks. So I will phase in and phase out different decks. But those that just joined, please feel free. If you have a burning question tonight that you would like to have answered, I'll stay on as long as I've got questions, or Azrael and I may just start chatting about divination. So we might as well start chatting about divination and like how we feel about divination. So Azrael, here's a big question for you. So how do you feel connected when you're doing card readings?
I feel comfortable, confident, comfortable, and actually, it just flows through me. So it actually, I feel positive in what I'm sharing. If that is a positive, there's no strangeness. Like I don't feel like it's strange. Like I just feel like it's resonating. Everything is flowing naturally through me, and I'm able to read the cards or whatever divination I'm working with. Whether it's manifestation of So if that makes sense.
No, it makes complete sense. So
Yes, James. Hi.
a lot of our divination that we work with, and Azrael, you can like totally add in whenever you want. Sometimes like we actually just work with spirits or connected with our intuition and our psychic ability. Especially like if you've been around Azrael, I
You
know
too,
he's
James.
for a while. Right, Azrael?
Yes, that is correct. I have new headphones, so I'm still trying to figure them out. But yes, I work with different things, and the thing about it, it's all, how do you say, being mindful and understanding that they're working with you, not against you, or even, you know, uh, in ill fate. It's a work of exchange. It's an exchange of understanding and be able to transmute energy and able to actually be able to interpret it, because there's so many different things. Some of them have not had the opportunity, and that's how all of us, each individual, were brought up and shown that this is one way that we're supposed to go through life, and anything beyond that, including our the definition gifts, our skills, are no. But in actuality, since day one, we were actually given that. And it's upsetting that even those that have crossed over, whether one assumes they might be of ill fate or positive, it's understanding because the thing about it, us individuals as the physical, we want to be acknowledged and received and know that we're not the only ones alone here in this world. And so are some spirits. And some spirits, whether they're our ancestors, will love to see us uprise, meaning, taking a stand and actually being able to connect with nature, connect with everybody, including those of, through lineages like bloodlines and so forth. And through the wisdom that we share with one another, it starts
Oh, I think we lost.
the way this world is. A lot of people don't believe until they see it, and we're actually the first ones that actually can show you, what there is a difference, out there that we are not actually looking at. Hey, Elena, nice to see you, Elena.
Welcome. So we're just going to chat about divination until anybody has any questions. So if you have a burning question that you would like answered, I'm doing one card readings tonight, and Azrael is my good friend and moderator, so he's helping out. And maybe one day he'll grab his cards and we'll both do readings together. Haha. No, no pressure, Azrael. So
Well, under the circumstances where I'm at, if you could hear, the windshield wipers, I wouldn't be able to do that. But in the future, perhaps, I wouldn't mind.
yes, we are getting nice rain. So I'm glad it's rain and not snow because it means spring's right around the corner. So that's why my hair's pulled back today because like I went out and it got like a rainy mess. So I was like, oh, really? I don't have time to redo my hair. So I just pulled it back. So, okay. Elena, you were told only to take note. Yeah, well, feel free if you
That,
have.
that was me. I told her to take notes. No matter where she goes, just take notes. Just write stuff down because once you do it, then you start to see. You can self-reflect and look through all the notes that one takes because one cannot see how one advances, whether, whatever they're looking for as far as their goals and intentions. But once you start surveying and see exactly, the growth of what you've seen, you witnessed, and you heard, it's the greatest example that you can give yourself is that reward of actually being able to take notes. How many times I've heard stuff, whether it's a presentation, like a seminar or something going on, and I'm going to remember all this stuff. I'm going to remember, and I forgot everything. I forgot the author, wherever was there. I forgot the names and everything. So it's good to always write it down because it's like a reference. We go, hey, there goes AT. Like we go to the store, we make a purchase. Once it's bagged, you get home. It's like I thought about this, I thought about that, and if you didn't have that receipt, you can't make that confirmation. So when we take these notes and these journals and so forth, it's a confirmation that you actually heard it, you wrote it down, and actually it was something of that you wanted to reflect back on. Elliot T, great to see you.
Good to see you. We're doing one card readings and we're also talking about divination. So we're going to just make it like a conversation. I'm not going to let anybody else up on panel tonight just because I've worked with Alien T and Azrael. Thursday I'll be doing a spiritual panel. Haven't figured out the topic yet, but I'll figure that out. But as Azrael was saying, it is really important to take notes because we can learn so much more from other people and we can grow, especially when people are giving out book recommendations. That is like extremely helpful, or even teachers. So like if people are like, oh, I took from this teacher, that's really helpful too. If you're looking to take classes, that's extremely helpful. So welcome, Alien T.
Hi, Rowan. Hey, Azrael. And okay, so I'm honored to be up here. You're talking divination. I do something called stitchomancy or bibliomancy. I've been doing it since I was a kid, and it's pretty accurate. but I can't force it. And I wonder, when you do readings, do you feel that it is something you can reach out to, or it's either there or it's not? Like a message is there or it's not.
You know, I have had times where I haven't gotten messages, I'll be honest. And usually I'll tell the person I'm reading for something's not right. And usually what it is the question they're asking isn't the right question, or they've kept something from me. Like, for example, I use this example quite a bit. I think Azrael's heard it. I had a client, and she was trying to find out if she was going to get back together with her boyfriend. Okay, boyfriend in quotations here, okay? And she gives me like this whole story about this boyfriend, and even shows me a picture of the boyfriend. And I pull the cards, and I sat there for a minute, and I'm like, either you're not telling me the truth, or he's not telling you the truth, or you're not telling him the truth, but somebody's not being honest. And she was like, oh, really? And that was the response I got. So she paid for another reading a month later. Come to find out, she had said that she'd met the boyfriend. He broke up with her, was still talking to her. She was still in love with him, wanted to get back together. And then I find out a month later was when I found out she'd never met him.
Okay, I'm following.
Yes. So then I do this new reading, and I said, okay, because it's like, you just paid for this reading. And the reading was like, literally, I'm like, if somebody's not being honest here. So that was the first reading. So second reading, she kind of gives me a little bit more information, and I'm like, okay, there's deception on this person's part. And so then she starts telling me she'd never done any video calls with him. He'd only sent her 3 pictures. Lo and behold, the person was a catfisher. Never knew who was catfishing her. But they really like broke this girl's heart. And so, but the first card reading, I literally knew. And that's why she got like a little bit like scared, because I was like, either you're not being honest with me, or you're not being honest with him, or he's not being honest with you. And she was just like, how did you know? So like, I've had a lot of situations similar. That one was the worst one I had. But yeah, that like, you know, I was like blocked, and I'm like, why am I being blocked from this? Because when I go into a reading, I get prepared for the universe to give me the information so that I can help people.
So I have a very imagine this. Let's take spirituality. Let's take quantum physics, and let's look at energy and energy exchange. And let's look at it as a frequency where authenticity and truth vibrates at a frequency that connects with the divine, but lies block it. Deception blocks it. It just severs the connection. That's what I've come to see.
Mm-hmm. It does. And when we're not honest with ourselves, or honest with the person you're getting your reading from, yeah, that it does get severed. Definitely.
You know, and I do want to add that, you know, that is correct. You know, as long as you're authentic and, you know, be genuine, whether it's on the positive or the negative aspects of, you know, whether you're working with divination cards or whatever it is, you know, as long as you're being authentic, that flow is going to be genuine. You know, it doesn't matter if it's positive or negative, it's going to be genuine. But if you're falsifying or not being authentic, it's actually going to be blurry. It's not going to have the answer, or you might never even get a true answer at all. You know, you might never ever get that answer that you're seeking. So I do recall that story, you know, what you just shared. And yes, you know, you have to be authentic, and, you know, and that's why it's very vital, you know, especially all of us, you know, on these communities and how we talk to individuals, whether they're our friends, our family members, loved ones, or just an affiliate. You know, we have to be authentic in everything that we say, whether people agree or disagree. It's just a matter of us not saying things to appease what they want to hear, because it's not about that. Because when you do that, we're taking our essence of being authentic and genuine and eliminating the fact that there's supposed to be that positive flow. We're supposed to continue forward through trials, and pains, but yet all the greatness, all the beautiful things in life. We're supposed to see all these things. And when we falsify or not authentic, we're not vibrating on that energy that Alien T was referring to.
Exactly. I completely 100% agree with both of you because, yeah, we do have to be authentic. And I think one thing that scares people about authenticity is that our society teaches shame and guilt so much. Like it's almost like part of society, especially like, I mean, that's just how it's been for centuries. And you have to realize there's not shame involved with a lot of stuff. A lot of it is something that's just been like pounded into you. And I think that's what holds a lot of people back is that they think, oh, this happened to me. I need to be shameful of it. So I'm going to go get this reading, whether it's tasseomancy or elder futhark runes or osteomancy or bibliomancy, like any of these. And if you're not honest about it, you're not going to get the answer you're supposed to get. So sorry, I'm just like checking this out. Thank you, Alien.
And I agree, and you have to understand that you guys can hear that in the background. How do you say, you know, the first lie creates multiple lies. So if you start, falsifying, not saying it's a complete lie, but even the slightest of it, you're allowing yourself to be capable to lie to yourself. In other words, if you're able to do it to others, you might as well do it to yourself, and you're going to wind up doing it to yourself. And that's how we falsify, everything that we do. It just doesn't feel right. We get discouraged and so forth and so forth. And I learned through, like I said, my relationships, whether we're, significant others, friendship, family members, and so forth and so forth. It's best to be straight up forward, be frank, straight up about it. Say, if you don't like it, I can't control your emotions, but what I can control is my reality. And if my reality is offending you, then perhaps maybe you need to work on yourself, because I don't think it's that serious. So, you have to be very honest with the individuals. And that's, we talk about this all the time. The same energy is going to resonate to who we are as an individual.
So can I be honest, Azrael? It sounds like you have a 3-headed dog with you or something. There's like some noise coming from the background. You might not be aware, but we hear it.
It's his windshield wipers. It's raining really bad here in Chicago.
Oh, all right. That's okay.
Yeah, I think we talked about it like before you joined, so it's all good. So we'll just remind everybody, yes, when Azrael's talking, that is the windshield wipers, because we do have a spring rainstorm here in Chicago.
Or I'm in a date with Hecate, and she's here with her.
You know what? Maybe that's like more fun. You know what? Maybe we'll go with that story. just don't ask the tarot for a question. Oh, we have somebody else from Chicago. Yes, I'm from Chicago too. So, yep, Azrael and I are here in the Chicagoland area. So those that are watching from Illinois and Chicago, welcome. Yes, some more Chicagolanders enjoying the cold, windy rain. It's actually not that cold. So Alien T, I have done bibliomancy before, but I don't do it very much. I used to do it a lot more than I do now. Do you want to share that? Because that is really cool. So since that's something that you do, if you would like to share, please open up and share.
Did I go back to the first time I discovered it as a kid? Okay, I remember, I think I was honestly about 9 or 10, that young. Well, I mean, it's not, some start even younger, but I remember just getting this impulse to ask a question and open a book. So it was like I had some sort of training or teaching from some source guiding me through it. And so I would ask a question and get a definite answer. And it made sense. So like the answer matched the question. I remember getting scared by it at that age. When it first happened, I thought, okay, what's happening here? What's going on? And then I learned to trust it more and understood. I still don't know how it works, but it works. And sometimes I'm even like, I'll open a page and then I'll kind of glance over it and I'll say, oh, this doesn't make sense. And I read it to the person and they are amazed at how accurate some of the details are in that message. So it's for the other person. It's never for you as the reader or the channeler, and it's always for the other person, for them to understand. So that's something I do. I don't really practice it often, but it's there, and often I'm guided. I've done it a few times all my lives, and when I'm guided to, I know it's going to be accurate. But I can't, like right now, if I were to grab a book and force it, it probably wouldn't be very accurate, but who knows? Maybe that impulse will come.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe someone will have a question and you'll be like, I'm supposed to do this. So, and which, if anybody has a question you want a one card reading, please feel free in between readings. I'll just be chatting away with Azrael and Alien T. What's really fascinating, Alien T, is okay. So I grew up in a cult, so it's the Mormon Church, and actually one of our teachers during what they called Sunday school, when I was probably maybe 12 or 13, they were like, if you ever need guidance, open your Bible or Book of Mormon and point, and it will tell you what your guidance is for the day. And so I did that for a while, and I would grab like Shakespeare books and other books that I had, and I did do that for quite a long time. But then I was like, do I really want to do this, since I learned it through the church that I left? So that's why I don't do it very much anymore. But I'm glad to hear that you do it, because I have heard other people that are like, no, it's always accurate. And I remembered it being accurate when I did do it. But at the same time, it's kind of a weird thing, especially when some of these Christian religions tell you don't go get tarot readings and they tell you it's okay to do that. It's like, wait, that's the same thing.
So I think it's important not to limit it to one book. Also, I have had frustrating moments where I wanted an answer and went to it and did not receive it. And then I learned that there's a knowing and a feeling intuitively that comes with it. Like, for example, I don't have anything right now. Like, I don't have an impulse to grab a book and get a message for Rowan or for Azrael, although maybe we can fix his wipers. So, Azrael, I love you, brother.
I'm gonna be frank with you. You know, this vehicle I'm driving is actually not my vehicle. I took my vehicle to have the emission fixed on it because I failed my emission test and I need to renew my plates. And they gave me a loaner, and it so happens to be raining and it's loud. So maybe I could adjust it, but I need to pull over. The chauffeur has to pull over somewhere. But you know, I myself have worked with, you know, with that, even though I never knew the name of it. And just like, you know, both as you guys mentioned, you know, I've taken many things, you know, like different books, and done the same thing. Because, you know, one thing that I've learned, and I learned from young, is that, you know, when spirits divine, sometimes, you know, the vocals are not there, and the vocals will not be able to speak, so we won't hear the voice. So it's through the signs around us, you know, whether it's something around us. It could be the sign of an advertisement where the answers could be there. You know, it's looking at the right time and understanding it. And once you see it with your awareness, because that's what the key is, you know, we talk about the awareness, is having that awareness. And when that sign arises, that's that confirmation that we need, you know, we need at that very moment. So I definitely believe it's all set in front of us. It's just like us being able to work within the matrix. looking into these books or anything, whether it's a movie or a video. You go on YouTube and the first video that pops up, like, wait a minute, this phone is actually reading my mind. And we kind of not give ourselves that credit that we're in tune, in tune to that source that's actually speaking to us in one form or another, because, if you really think about it, it's not going to speak to us vocally. And the way I interpretate this, and I don't want to get all crazy, and sound it, but I like to analyze, and I like to go back to the story of the Garden of Eden, and when you think about it, and let's hypothetically say Eve was there before Adam, all right, and Eve was there before Adam, or they were there simultaneously, and they say, "Don't bite the apple." Don't bite the apple because of so and so and so. Think about it. Us men, we have an Adam apple. So with the Adam apple, we're able to vocalize our words. So maybe the apple in the Garden of Eden was the vocal cord. Us, because we can think so many things in our mind, and we can be in the telekinesis and speak with one another with the true essence of that vibration, because we're in the essence of positivity. Or if it's negative, we can feel that aura of negativity. I don't need to speak to you, because if I'm feeling negative, you can feel that I am angry. So I think that apple in the story of Adam and Eve was the Adam apple, our vocal cords. Now that we are able to use our vocal cords, we can stop for a second and actually change what we were thinking. We could think, but when we can speak, we can stop what we thought and actually change what we were going to say. If that makes sense. So we can fib with our voices, but our thoughts are genuine. And, with that said, is that, now looking and observing at everything around us, if we can understand that the divine source speaks to us sometimes not through the voice, but through the signs of time, and it's deep, it's deep, and that could be a whole, it's a whole topic.
It could be. And you know what? Maybe the temptation was the goddess Lilith saying eat the apple. But I bet if we look, when they named anatomy, it probably was, you're probably 100% right. Why they call it the Adam's apple is probably because of Adam. So I wouldn't be surprised, because anatomy goes back many centuries. So funny, Vicky, all we need is love was thinking about Lilith. So was I. As soon as he said that, I'm like, Lilith. So we brought up Lilith and Hecate tonight, because we've got Azrael in his car with his three-headed dog. As Alien T called it, which is always fun. I am doing one card readings, and so please feel free to throw that out. But in the meantime, Azrael and Alien T and I are just going to be chatting away about divination and divination practices. So please feel free to pop questions in. I'm trying to keep an eye on the questions for right now. So but we were talking about, we've kind of been a little bit of everywhere, but yeah, like one of the biggest things is that we do need to be authentic to get a good reading when we're working with divination. So definitely be authentic, because as anybody who can do a reading, we won't get that inspiration. And I can tell you, I've done readings before where I've literally had people's spirit guides tell me something to tell them, and that's actually really cool. I don't know. I know Azrael. I know we've had a couple experiences together with spirits, and I don't know if you have Alien T, but let's do this too, right? So here's a question for both of you. Has a spirit told you to tell somebody something when you've been talking with them? Azrael, I'll let you go first.
Sorry about that. I just had never mind. You can hear me. But anyhow, yeah, many times, but as far as examples at the moment, with the current situation that I'm at right now, it's kind of hard for me to kind of if you do understand, because I'm multitasking, so it's kind of hard. But I've been told, specific things to share with somebody. In other words, someone's grandmother, unalive, and been unalive for a very long time, and My father is actually in the same cemetery, and due to the fact that I know that individual, I would also, pay my respects and actually visit that specific place where their grandmother is actually resting, and I was told exactly what to call the person, as a nickname and so forth and so forth, and shared it with them and gave them, a positive, what do you call it, a inspiration, something that only that individual and the grandmother knew, like a nickname and so forth. And I shared it, and I definitely believe, we all have the ability to be mediums, and we can tune in to things that we don't see. But yes, I've done it in more than one, in more than one circumstance. But it's I'm on I'm on the on Lagrange Road, over here by the south side. So
Yep.
it's kind of tough right now. 5-5.
Yep. Well, well, and you're close. Oh, if you're by any of those cemeteries out there. I can think of one off Lagrange that I've had interesting experiences with. Um, but Alien T, I'll let you answer the question. Have you ever been doing a reading or anything like that where a spirit has told you to tell the person something?
Yeah, all the time. It definitely, I have a connection, and they know I have it. So they will come to me at times, once they realize you're open to it. You can get a lineup at your front door, so to speak, depending on the situation, the setting, gatherings of large groups of people. If the group is open to it, definitely I would share it. Otherwise, I would not. And the question is, when you receive messages, have you ever been in a situation where you didn't want to tell them, even though you knew it was strong? But it's not for us to hold back either. Although sometimes those messages can appear a certain way, I try not to judge it. And if the person is open to it, and I ask them if they're open first, then I would share it. Yeah. But yeah, I'm just like you guys. I've had experiences my whole life.
Yeah, and it is really important to make sure the person's open to it. I kind of learned it the hard way. I'm a little more loose with my husband and a few of my friends. And my husband's grandmother, it's actually his great grandmother, is with him all the time. And the first time I described her to him, I said, "I think it's your grandmother that's with you." And I described what she looked like, and he just went white. But that was when I found out he believes but doesn't believe in the spirit realm and that spirits can come back to us. And we happened to go to Romania about a year and a half ago, and we went to his great grandmother's house. And it's still left exactly how it was when she passed away. It was left to one of her sons. And the house is still there, just exactly how she left it. And we walked in, I'm like, oh, this is so sweet. Cause she had passed away in the 80s, but she has stuff from the early 20th century. So it was really, it is really sweet to see that, especially when you see the culture of Romania. We go into this one little sitting room and a picture of her was on the wall. I turned white and my husband's like, what? And I'm like, I knew I couldn't tell him. So I immediately messaged my friend in an email, and I was like, you are never going to believe what happened to me. Cause I had told her about the situation and who was with my husband all the time. And I'm like, it's his great grandmother. And she's like, how do you know? I'm like, I saw her picture on the wall because I see her a lot. So but I couldn't tell him because he's not ready for that message. And so, yeah, we do have to be careful and make sure that the person's ready for the message. If we're doing a reading or something and it comes across that their spirit guide or their ascended spirit or a family member's getting through, we definitely have to make sure they're ready for it. Because if somebody's not ready for it, it can be really overwhelming, or it could traumatize them or make them scared. And that's really important not to do that. Azriel, I don't know if there's anything you want to add with this.
Sorry, no, at the moment, no. I'm just chiming in and listening. You know, I'm all scattered. Um, can't think. I can't think. Hold on a second. Let me just go right here. Yeah, I apologize. No, I was in the. I don't want to say it, so I can't say it. But anyways, so I was on the 171, which is over here in the south side. And at velocity. So I was in velocity, so that's why I couldn't focus on what I wanted to. But you know what? I definitely believe we as individuals, we have this capability, and just as we discussed earlier, as long as you're authentic and genuine, and as you mentioned as well, that as the individual, are you willing to receive the message? Because that's the key. It's those are the factors that play a big factor, in the scenario. Like when I do my divinations, mostly it's scribing. I get the words, and that's how I knew that they don't have vocals. I don't hear it. I don't hear it. I feel it through vibrations, and is through writing it down or expressing it. Through the signs and everything. Um, but I really haven't work with that with many individuals. Like I haven't, because I get scared. I get scared. I see premonitions, and I see so many things that happen, and sometimes I don't know why I have them. So I shut that part, and accept something else. I say, don't give me that. Give me that other gift. I can actually work on it. So, but you know what? Like I said, I'm a living testimony that I've seen it. Just like yourself. I've worked with many occult practices, and I do believe a lot that we are capable of doing is there for us. The tools are there, and it's just us actually being in the true essence of accepting and say, you know what, I am gifted and I am able to receive this information to those that need it. And if somebody is looking for it, and if you're honest and you're open with them, I think it works. It works. It definitely works. There's no doubting in it. I do have a friend of mine from Florida. I actually met the individual here on TikTok, and they do divinations as well. But I think they do it in the religious aspects where they're removing entities or spirits from other individuals. They call it divination something. I just don't know exactly what it's called. I was shared some of the information, but too much. I don't want too much of it. I don't want to know too much of it. But so it's all there. And when you think about it, anything with TION, when we're talking of divination, the shin part is always action. So, and when we're working with the divine, it's everything. The divine timing, divine blessings, and so forth and so forth. So it's understanding that when we are in our true essence, we are working with the divine, and divine can be the positivity and everything. And sometimes some individuals can use that negativity, but that negativity is to show an example. We have to have an example for us to know as a testimony, what, this is why the negativity is existing, because the negativity is there to show you that at the end of it, there is a positive to it.
Correct. Okay, I saw Vicky asked me if I told my husband now. No, I have not. He is not open and ready. So, when he's open and ready, I will probably then tell him. But his great grandmother loved him very much, and he's very safe. So, and when I see her around, I know she's comforting him, and it's something that he's not ready to like say he needs comfort because well we actually kind of talked about it last night, Alien, too, when we were talking about emotions on yours, that sometimes people aren't ready to let their emotions out. And actually what I realized is when he's hurting is when his great grandmother is with him, and he's not ready to tell me so that I can be that. So I can hear him and listen to him and comfort him. But it is interesting. And Candace, I saw your comment too. Yes. So Candace and I were both in the same cult. So Candace, I don't know if you call it a cult. I sure do. Yeah, boy, my eyes were very, very open. Actually, before I left the church, my eyes were open, but I was always getting in trouble for questioning things. So I was the person that would question teachings and get told to please not ask those questions because it was blasphemy. So but that's what happens when when we're ready to be spiritually awakened. We start asking questions. Why is this way? So fabulous. If anybody watching, if you want a one card reading, please feel free to put a question in the comments. If not, we're going to keep. Oh, feel like I'm losing again. Why am I on this roller coaster? Well, White Wolf, do you want me to pull a card for you? Because I can pull a card for you before I start a new topic with Azrael. And well, not a new topic. It would just be a new question to share on divination. Yep, I'll pull a card. Do you have a specific question? Or do you just want to know, because you said you feel like you're losing again. Why are you on the roller coaster? Do you want to know, like, what's holding you back right now? Would that be a good way to ask it? Fabulous. Okay. What is holding White Wolf back right now? Oh, Six of Pentacles. You have a gift and you are not using that gift. So you have a very special gift. You know what that gift is and you just need to develop it. That's what's holding you back. So find what motivates you to get back working with that special gift that you have. I know this time of year, sometimes it's really hard because we're just getting done with winter. So how to find out, you have no clue. Let me pull a Lenormand card for you. And then I saw somebody else ask a question. I'll go back through the chat and look for that. So let's see. Okay, so your Lenormand card is the house, your foundation. So what's holding you back is something in your house. It could be turmoil in the house. It could be anything. There's something negative. Maybe you just need to cleanse your house. So you can do that really easily with herbs. You can do it with crystals. You can do it with sound. Like if you've got a sound bowl, or I love to walk through my house with my shamanic drums. So I will literally walk through and just play a beat. So cleanse your house. It's got like a stagnant energy and you need to get rid of it. And then you're going to be able to pull your gift out. That's what it is. Oh, the house isn't yours. That might be why. Make it yours. So that's like your holdback. You're welcome. All right. So I'm going to see if I can find the other question. And I know it was from Vicky. Vicky, I might need you to post it again. Oh, let's see. No. Okay. Oh, can you ask a question in your head? Sure, Vicky. Tell me when you've asked the question. I'll start shuffling the cards for you. You know what? I have a card that totally flipped out, so this one is for you. You got the Nine of Wands. So you have a lot of passion and love, and you are literally on a quest, Vicky, and you are on the right path. It's like, do you see that glowing? You're completely on the right path. You have divineness coming to you. Don't turn it away. Go straight to it. It will guide you where you need to go. So there you go. Beautiful. So enjoy that. Yes, we all want to move to Canada with Alien Tea. Sorry, all of us in the States. Do you have room for us, Alien Tea? And will Mrs. T let us in?
Oh, we have tons of room up here. Sure.
It might be like, like everybody in the spiritual community that's not in Canada or who's in the USA. So I shouldn't laugh about it, but it is kind of true.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you can do a stopover at Azrael's on the way up.
Exactly. So those were really fabulous. So those were really sorry, I'm a little whew. So Azrael, you want to share something?
Well, I do know where the Freedom Bridge is in Buffalo, New York, and we could take it. We'll take it to Old Fort Erie in Canada, which is Ontario, and then from there we're gonna have to trust our intuition. Um, I'm almost at my destination here, but what was the question?
I didn't really have one. I was just like, wait, because I had some pretty great readings there. So I was just going to say, if you had anything to add for divination or intuition, to go ahead and add.
Oh, if are you asking if I have a question for the tarot card?
Oh, if you have a question, yeah, I'll play.
No, no, I have no question. I apologize. My wipers are just making so much noise, but you know what? I think it slowed down a little bit. Yeah, I hate it because you know what? It's like, I'm trying to be so 100% authentic here, and I can't really focus. But you know what? Now that I pulled over, the chauffeur, yeah, right here, guy. Okay, we're gonna pull over. So what was the question? If you could
I was just going to say, is there anything about divination or like your intuition that you would like to add with today's discussion, or even with just the readings I just pulled?
allow the individual, whoever wants to work with it, allow yourself to never doubt yourself, because, the worst critic that we can have, and it's been, stated in so many different aspects of our lives, is we can be the worst critic. And taken away from that, having self-doubt, low self-esteem, you're not going to vibrate at that vibration that you need, in order for you to be able to tap into your gifts. We all have different gifts, and the thing about it, not two individuals are alike, although we might have similarities as far as, the options. There's so many different options, but being in the true essence of who you are as the individual, we're able to find that resonates with us. So being authentic, which was the main factor that we said earlier, uh, never doubt yourself, never bewilder yourself. In other words, don't make yourself feel like you need to really work hard on it. Because if you have the gift, all you need to do is find clarity and understand it. Whether finding individuals that are just minded, individuals that are working with the same divination tools that you are working with, it will give you an aspects of what you need to, you know, um, tarnish up on it, and polish up, and be able to tap in. So it's, doing stuff like this is communication. It's better to observe, ask the questions, and listen, and listen and listen. Not all of us are going to catch it right away. It takes years. Some might just be natural, but for others it might take years. And don't be discouraged if that doesn't work. Maybe try something else, and then naturally the other thing that you were looking for to work with will actually manifest itself and say, you know what, now I get it and now I understand it. And as a listener, like I said, I love to listen and observe all the time, and I've learned so many things from others about myself just listening to them. I said, and then and you can self-reflect on it.
So beautiful. Thank you, Azrael. Alien T, anything to add?
So, you know, um, when we're talking about divination, it is. I have to point out how can I put this? Discovering that gift, or that ability is going to send people in two directions. Uh, Either they are humbled by it and therefore become very good at it, or they run with it and their ego gets involved and it's all about them. And then they mislead people. And I don't get that from you. You're definitely, I see the reverence, I see the humble nature needed to be uh, a good guide for others here in this earth. And although everyone is able to tap into it, not everyone is willing to. And that's why they look to people who are. Um, so I've always had reverence for these gifts because I mean, it's just my reaction to discovering them opens my eyes and makes me feel happy to be part of something bigger, but also reminds me of, my limitations. I'm just a small part of this creation. So I think anyone looking to pursue it, I would recommend definitely don't take your ego into it. Don't run with it. It's not about you. It's not about me when I'm receiving something. It is a service that is meant for the person who needs it. And all we are channels for that. Otherwise, we could lose it. We could definitely cut it off. We get in our own way, so to speak.
Yes, that's so beautiful. Thank you, Alien T. So I also saw in the chat, White Wolf, you're having a hard time with your journey. I know we pulled a couple cards. I saw Vicky gave you breath work will help. It will help. I know also like winter is really hard for the majority of the world, especially like I was just talking about it yesterday. With somebody, we were talking about how it's usually, especially here in Illinois, it's usually gray, really, really gray and dark. So you just feel like it's dark 24/7. And this year we've been kind of lucky and had sun. It does help to go outside. So take some time to start going outside, even when it's cold. Like right now, it's not like super cold, especially I see you're in the Midwest here with us. So it's starting to kind of warm up. Go outside, get some fresh air, go for a walk. Actually, what is really interesting is scientifically and spiritually, when you go outside when it's cold and you take in those deep breaths, it's actually really helpful for your body. And yeah, Alien T's even saying the vitamin D. I think we all start lacking it this time of year because we're not going outside and the sun sometimes isn't out very much. I mean, we have had more sun, at least in the Illinois area. So, okay, you're having a hard time. Just bundle up, even if it just means going outside for 5 minutes and walking around. But as soon as spring comes and it's warming up, spend as much time outside, whatever it is you love doing. So that is extremely helpful to be able to do that. Like if it was like 10 degrees warmer, I would be outside right now dancing in the rain. Like I will go outside when it's raining and just let the rain soak me to the bone. I just absolutely love that. It's just kind of a fun thing to do. and get my feet all muddy. So, but that's something fun. So I don't know if Azrael or Alien T want to add anything for what you can do this time of year to get yourself out of that. If Azrael, I know like you've kind of moving. If we'll go to Alien T first and then we'll go to Azrael.
Yeah, no, it's we're not getting out as much because it's cold. So we stay indoors. We lose touch with nature, the energy out there. It's available. We just have to get out there. Supplements can help, like vitamin D, vitamin E, perhaps. Eating even the fruit we eat is not the same this time of year. So we are definitely probably all in need of some sort of a boost. The sun is the number one provider of vitamin D. And I have to remind myself to replenish it as well. And this is the time, like they call them. Well, we just went through February. March is coming. Spring is not too far away. If you can hang in there, there's beautiful weather coming.
It is. I'm so looking forward to it. I literally wore flip-flops outside today when I went to go run errands. So I was just like, I'm ready. Even though like my feet were sopping wet when I got home, but I did not care. I was like, no, it was warm. So Azrael, any advice?
Yes, there's a couple of them. As a matter of fact, I do keep one at home. There is such a thing. I don't know the proper name of it, but people can tend to be sad and depressed when the lack of sun. And I do have a light which is like a UV light that mimics the sunlight. It's light therapy. You can find it online. You can find it on any of these platforms, eBay or where they sell them. They're light therapy, and basically, it mimics what the sun gives out to it, that vitamin D, and also wearing light colors. Colors that remind you of spring. Those pinks and the light ones. Light colors of soft flowers and so forth. Like your shirt. What you're wearing right there. Wearing these vivid colors. Wearing bright colors can actually enlighten your surrounding and all around you, so it doesn't become dark and gloomy, especially in the winter times when the sun is not going through it, and the curtains or your shades are not allowing sun to come in. Even the plants will get saddened. They get sad because the sun is not around. So as a reminder, light therapy. How they got plants, lights for the plants in the same way they got light for us humans. But you got to make sure it's made for light therapy. And just looking online right now, I see there's a couple of them like for $18 that starts off, and they're very good. It beats going to therapy. They do have places where you can go to therapy. I was able to buy the one that I have. It's like a $300 one. But guess what? I bought it on a yard sale one day. I seen it, I observed it, and I said, you know what? I could utilize that because I had one that was cheap. It was made out of plastic, and it did its job. But hey, if I can get myself my hands on a professional one, it was well worth it, and it does work. I myself, I try to be as positive as possible, and I notice also, when there's lack of sun or vitamin D, I do, lose. In other words, I'm not motivated. I'm not the go-getter like I usually am. So, you could just search online and look for that light therapy. There might be even some written stuff on it, so it gives you a background. Like I said, I'm not a professional. I've known this like since 97, I think is the first time that I've come across with it. And it does help.
That's good to know. Even
You know,
for me, because like in
oh,
AK,
what too? Another thing I want to add to, and I'm sorry, is these new LED lights are not natural lights. So, if your home has LED lights and you're not outside and not able to get that sunlight, the LED lights are actually, they can actually make you depressed because it's not a natural light.
yeah, yes. That's like another, like, I know I like just wait for like it to get a little warmer. Even my husband was laughing at me because on some of the really cold days I'd walk outside because I'm like, well, the sun's out. And he's like, you're crazy. He's like, it's 10 degrees. I'm like, but the sun's out. It's like Azrael, we were talking and you were like of the sun. So, we all need, even though I love the moon, I need the sun. So there we go. So, anything else, Alien T, to add? Have you heard anything about that? I mean, feel free. Oh, we caught Alien T. Fell asleep.
You know, no, he's there. I think he might be looking online. But one of my astral projections, and I might have shared it on a live before, and I think it might have been on Alien T's live. I did have many astral projections, and one of the astral projections, I actually was talking to some beings, and they were called the ancient ones. And this is a while back, and I asked, they gave me the ability to ask questions about anything and all that exists. And one of the things that they told me was the reference that, just like was stated here by Alien T, vitamin D, the sun is like an egg yolk, you know and when you look at the sun, it's like that's why you got sunny side eggs. The sun is like an egg yolk, and it's the smack center of this universe. So we are like the white layers of the egg yolk, you know and the egg is that center sun, and all the nutrition for us to grow as an embryo is from the sun itself. So we're supposed to expose ourselves. So individuals with the C word and different ailments can be healed if they intune themselves with the embryo, which is where it's gonna give us the things to nurture us as individuals. But you have to believe in yourself. You have to believe in your purpose and truly understand that everything and all is connected. So, if that makes any sense. Like I said, I don't want to be any religious text or stuff like that, but it came from an astral projection, and I was told that all of us are, giving up this opportunity in front of us that's there on a day-to-day basis. We're supposed to bathe in the sun. We're supposed to actually, just like the plants, everything is utilizing the photosynthesis, and just like us, even though we're not plants, we have the same. You know what I'm saying? So we absorb that energy to heal us. Everything in all is plasma. The sun is plasma. Plasma is energy. We're all energy.
That's very true. Yes, and we do need to have that energy some way or another. And yeah, I'm like, I could have used that light thing a long time ago, because that was my first thing when I first moved from the West Coast here to Illinois. I was like, what the heck? It's so gray and dark in the winter. Like I literally would be like counting days we had sun. Because growing up in the Rocky Mountains, you could have like snow, but it was snowing and the sun was out. And you'd have sunburns in the wintertime because the sun would hit the snow and reflect up onto you, and you would get sunburned. So I had sun all the time. I wasn't used to that, but it does make sense. We do need to have like special lighting. So, and I know, like, the LEDs saves us money, but it's not natural, and we need to like try to be as in tune with the earth and natural lighting as we can. Same thing with everything else. Alien T, anything to add there? And we've got like Azrael showing us. What are you showing us, Azrael?
There's a little, there's a little bunny there, jackrabbit. I'll say. Oh, there he goes. He left.
Oh,
There, he ran. He ran. He took off running.
I was gonna say follow it. It might make its little nest. I get that in my yard all the time. I have at least, I think it's 3 or 4 mama bunnies in my yard now, and they will start making their nests here pretty soon, and we'll have like a yard full of little baby bunnies. So I'm kind of excited for that. Like that's also like a big sign of spring. So when I start seeing like grass getting picked up, then I know.
Yeah, my neighbor's got a low deck, right on the ground. And so every year for the last 5 years, I've had a rabbit come in and kind of live there, and then the little ones come out. It's nice to see.
It really is. I've caught I know there are little patterns. So I had one night, my husband's like, stop picking up the babies. We had the first time we caught babies maybe like 5 years ago. All the neighbors around me have dogs. We don't have a dog right now because we like to travel. So it's like easier to not have a dog when you travel so much, because a lot of the places we liked, and we love big dogs. So you can't really take like a big dog on a plane very well. So we were like, we'll just be dog free for a while. So I guess we have like all these adopted rabbits in our yard. But one of the rabbits was going to go under the fence in my neighbor's yard where they have like 2 really big dogs. I'm like, no, 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 no. And I grabbed the baby bunny. He's like, no, the mom's not gonna want it. And I'm like, it's like 6 weeks old. It's gonna be okay. They're starting to wean. I'm like, I just don't want it to get to die already, But yeah, I'm that crazy person. So significant of rabbits. Well, rabbits can mean quite a few things. One thing, one of my shamanic teachers was telling me that rabbits can be a sign that someone in the spirit realm is actually trying to connect with you. They've got a message for you. So if you've been seeing that, and yeah, Alien T, it does also mean movement too. Yeah. Anything else? Azrael, let's go. Let's talk about like the significance of rabbits.
Well, we talk about rabbits, and one thing we can all agree, the rabbit leads you to rabbit holes. And, if I could share a different perspective of something, all right, and so that way maybe I never get a chance to speak about this, but it gives a different aspects and perspective. So there's another animal that hops just like a rabbit, but this animal doesn't it's not in the land. It's actually an amphibian. It's a frog. The frog hops like a rabbit, but the frog ribbits. Ribbit, ribbit. So if you follow the frog into the water, you know what I'm saying? So we follow the rabbit into the rabbit hole and we get lost in the rabbit hole. But yet the amphibian, which is the frog that ribbits. So follow the ribbit, and the ribbit will take you from the physical, which is landmass, to the spiritual, which is the water, the water. And think about it, it's an amphibian. Amphibian, the three first words to the amphibian is the AMP, the amp, the wattage. Just because we are energy doesn't mean the amp doesn't resonate. The amp is bringing that vibration higher. So as the frog hops and hops and hops into the water, it creates a ripple. That ripple is the portal. And that's deep, but I want you guys, to look into a frog as well. A lot of people remember, in these stories, and I'm talking about, fairy tale stories, the princess always kisses the frog and the frog becomes the prince. There's so much magical into a frog. And people always talk about, follow the rabbit to the rabbit hole, but I think it's misleading when you and what I'm saying, I'm speaking a metaphor, but I'm not trying to give you guys too much information, because you have to do the work. I can only give you crumbs, and if you actually understand where I'm coming from, the amphibian is born as tadpoles in the water, and from the water it actually can come on land and live on land. So it's the closest thing to us understanding the physical and the spiritual world. You know, the depths of water, just to show you an example, you can go into the depths of water, all the way down to the depths of water, and you look up in there and you can see the reflection of the sun. It's like actually a near death unaliving, where you're in darkness and the tunnel is up there to the light. Go toward the light. Understand? So the depths of that, there's so much in there. Yes, there's a portal. So the rabbit will lead you to the portal once you understand that the amp is the amplitude. The higher you vibrate, the more you're able to create the ripples. And so the AMP, which is the amplifying, the amphibian is the amplitude, and the amplitude is utilizing energy, the energy field. When we are vibrating, I am vibrating in a vibration that you can understand me, and we all resonate. Resonation is part of the vibration. So the key to everything all around us is that energy and that positive aspects that we're talking about. Remember, positive and negative is energy, and we are grounded. We can transmute this energy as we vibrate and become the prism to transmute any energy that comes through us, and we can actually utilize it and send it out there. But that's a whole different story. I just wanted to add that, so I followed the rabbit, and it just led me to a hole in the dirt, and that was just that, and that was the end of the story. And that's all I know about that rabbit. It hops and it hops and it hops, but the frog can go into the depths of the ocean, and there's still 95% still unexplored. And I think that's where we need to go. We don't need to go into a hole. We need to explore the spiritual.
That's a beautiful analogy. Alien T, I see you're
Yeah.
ready. You're like ready to
Yeah.
go.
No, that's Asriel's new book, Ribbits and Rabbits.
There we go. We expect it in a year, Azrael.
Well, that's the perspective that I like to see. I like to learn, because, like I said, I don't like to go to places where it ends. But you know how we go into those labyrinths? If you follow labyrinths will take you to dead ends, and I think a lot of us are falling in for those dead ends. We have to be able to utilize our surroundings, our wisdom, and being the true essence of those that we surround ourselves with love, compassion, understanding, and be mindful, be able to do what we're doing here is allow individuals to communicate. We need to communicate with one another and be able to speak to one another in order for us to understand not only them, but understand us. What ticks us off? What is our trigger? What makes us happy? We won't know unless we have a reflection of ourselves by able to communicate with one another.
Yep. So beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. Alien T, anything to add other than that we know what Azrael's book title is going to be?
Yeah, my analogy, the butterfly, my quote, I'll share it. I haven't said it for a while, but To me, it represents our journey, our transition, our growth. Don't cry for the caterpillar, says the butterfly.
I love that. And that is so beautiful. Because we blossom. Caterpillars are really amazing, and then they go into this chrysalis, this hibernation, and then boom, they come out and they get to explore the world, and it's unlimited. Once you have wings, it's unlimited. And that's a good analogy.
I just can't tie words together like Azrael. Like I'm trying to figure out an analogy. Are we currently in a cocoon in this state on this planet?
It's possible. Remember that movie in the 80s or early 90s, Cocoon? When you think about it, a butterfly, the key word in the butterfly is the metamorphosis. And remember, meta is part of the matrix, everything around us. It's built on the meta. So I think, it ties into all of us, like you stated, Elliot. We are supposed to transmute and actually become something that we don't know yet, but it's our true essence.
Yeah, so we might not be butterflies yet. We're either caterpillars still, or we're in the cocoon, because I always use the Maslow's pyramid of hierarchy. I say it a lot because we're slowly moving up there to being enlightened. And are we going to be enlightened while we're here on this plane, or is it going to happen when we're on the spiritual plane and we're spirits? Or will it partially happen while we're here? Are we going to get our wings while we're here?
But the caterpillar already has wings within it. It's just not fully manifested yet.
Because something's holding the caterpillar back.
As long as the frog doesn't eat it or a rabbit.
Exactly. There we go.
Now I feel like Azrael and I are on different teams with these different animals.
And there's your book. Don't let the frog or the rabbit eat your caterpillar.
It's spiritual warfare. Game on.
Right? No, we don't need to make it a fight, but that would be kind of funny. Sorry. And laughter is always like the best medicine too. So, and I laugh sometimes when it's very odd, but I do love laughter. So, all right. Anybody else have a question that they would like a tarot reading for? I'll do any more of those. And then I'm going to do one last round before I wrap up for the night. And just a reminder, I will be live on Thursday. I had to think what day it was, at 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Tomorrow, Alien T, do you want to do a shout out for you tomorrow?
Okay, you got me. I still don't have a topic, but I'm live 10 p.m. Eastern tomorrow night for 4 hours. And yeah, we're going to have our usual amazing guests. Rowan, if you can make it, I hope. Azrael. And I'm trying to think of a topic. It still hasn't come to me.
Maybe it has something to do with a caterpillar and a butterfly. We'll find out. We'll find out tomorrow, probably.
Yeah, we'll find out. I'll probably wake up in the morning, or I'll get something in a couple hours and start working on a video or something. Yep.
There we go. And Azrael, do you want to do a shout out for your Thursday?
Yeah, I'm gonna do Thursday. I'm actually gonna do it after your live. It's actually detoxing, so it's gonna be spiritual and physical detoxing. And I think we need a balance of both of them in order for us, to be balanced in our journey, and things that we do. So it's digital and spiritual. Not digital. Well, I get thrown off. Let me show you why I got thrown off. I'm walking through here and I'm looking at these food products, and it's physical and spiritual detoxing, because we when we heal ourselves and actually start working on ourselves, and and so forth, we sometimes forget that we're actually working on both aspects of our physical and spiritual self. We have to have a healthy mind, both physically and mentally and spiritually, to be able to work on the things that we're working, whether it's divination or learning. Oh, I'm in a restaurant. I'm actually in the back of a restaurant. This is not my night job. There's nobody here, but let me show you something, if you don't mind. So
Go for it.
it's closed right now. This is a cafeteria area. Uh, I guess they heat up cookies here and stuff like that. Here, they got that. They got the fryer. Uh, you know, food there. Hold on a second. Let me turn on this light just to give you guys a quick tour. This is why I enjoy my job. I enjoy my job because I get to go places many can't go. Yeah, I get to see places. I get to see some unbelievable places. I go to corporations and places. Through here. So I guess this is the place that they prepare the foods. They got the servicing area, the mop rooms around there, and this is a freezer, like a walk-in freezer. You know, I'm, I could go into the walk-in freezer. Just showing you guys. Here's some stuff. I guess they're gonna prepare a salad with. Uh,
Oh, I think the freezer
I
doesn't.
got egg.
Yep, I'm guessing it's too cold in the freezer.
That's where I'm at. I'm in a restaurant. No, it's not that cold because it's colder outside. Let me get out of here. Oh. So that's where I'm at. So yeah, so that's my topic. It's going to be detoxing the spiritual and physical. But there's a lot more of what we're talking about, and the astro spiritual is actually the AC, and the physical mental is the DC. So we got alternative current and direct current, and it plays a big factor, and that's part of what the discussion is going to be about: how to utilize the AC and DC, which is the spiritual and the physical of our aspects, and understanding that we need to balance them, and also make sure that we detox them, whether through meditations or fasting in the physical, and so forth and so forth. I'm probably just going to go for 2.5 hours, but to just shed a little perspective and understanding of there's so much out there that if we just take time. I like that mop sink, fam. Oh no, hold on a second. That's not the mop sink. The mop sink's over here. Let me show you. Hold on. This is the mop sink over here. I've been coming here for maybe 16 years, so I know this whole place. I got the fob. I could go anywhere in this place. This is the mop room. I guess their light's not working, but yeah, they got a mop room here. That's actually for dishes and pots. I worked in Buffalo, New York, doing this. This was my job, being in the kitchen and washing dishes, and that's a different story. But I don't want to take too much from your live, Rowan.
Yep.
Yeah, I
No.
don't want to take too much of the life. So that's what the topic is going to be. There is a promo on my page. For those that are not following me, Alien T or Rowan Ravenwolf, please follow us. And,
Yes.
and I appreciate everybody. And thank you for the time here. And
Oh, you're welcome.
Freaky, that was for you, Freak.
Yes, yes. So I didn't see any other tarot questions. So I'll just remind everybody I'm live every Tuesday. I do one card tarot readings, and I'll let limited guests up, and we'll talk about like the topics tonight. Like we were talking about divination. We did get a little spiritual in there, and we did some beautiful card readings for those that asked for readings. So, oh, you have another question, Vicky? All we need is love. Please go ahead. No, ask another question. Or oh, were you asking Azriel a question? Okay, it looks like yes, you were asking Azriel a question. So, but every Tuesday I will be here live. Oh, there we go. Woman's Blues.
If that answers your question, there it is, right there. That's for Lewis.
So, all right. So, I will be live again next Tuesday for Tuesday Tarot, pulling cards and having other divination topics with a limited panel. Oh, Vicky has another one. How can she contact her ancestors? You know what? Yeah. Let's see. Ooh, we got the Four of Pentacles in reverse, and this is a really beautiful card. I'm going to try to hold that up close so you can see it. With this one, and I just want to like check one of the symbolisms really quick. Yes. When you're ready, it will be very easy to contact them. I'm getting that you're not quite there yet, but you're really close. And there's lots of forms that you can do. They're going to come to you when you're ready. So you spiritually need to do some stuff yourself, and then they will come to you. I don't know how they're going to come to you, but you're just not ready yet is what I'm getting. So, but they're there, they're watching you. So it just takes a little bit of time. So that was actually beautiful too. Ooh, that one actually gave me chills. So, that was so beautiful. So, all right. See, and we already have understanding. So that's good. And feel free to come next week if you want to have a follow-up too. Oh, and White Wolf, you have a question too? Go for it. And you had a card fall out. So I don't see your question yet. Okay, what should you focus on right now? Wait, what should I focus on right now? Okay, what should White Wolf focus on right now? Ooh, we got the moon. So that's a lot of moon energy coming through. This, you've got a lot of emotions, and those emotions need to be let out. So you need to, something's holding you back emotionally. Let those emotions out. And once they're out, you're going to be able to you're going to be unstoppable. You'll be able to do whatever you need to, but it's face those emotions that you've been hiding. They're just waiting to come out. It could be anything. It could be like a crying session. It could be punching a pillow. Yeah, it could be rage. We actually kind of talked about it on Alien T's live last night. We kind of talked about like sometimes how if we hold things inside too much, it can cause frustration, anger, rage. Alien T, what am I missing? Am I missing anything? Please feel free to add.
The negative, lower vibrational emotions of hate, fear, they're all fear-based. It's really, we can break it down to either fear-based or love.
Yeah. Yes, thank you, Alien T. I know all of a sudden I'm just like, whoa. But yeah, you've got to let those emotions out. And you can sometimes do it by painting or writing or dancing or punching a pillow. So, yeah, but just when we build it up inside, it can turn into hate. And when we build it up too long, that becomes unhealthy for us, and it starts to manifest physically and mentally with us. And that can hold you back. So, no, you just got to let it go. You got to let it go. And if it takes, and when you're ready, because like if you're not ready right now, you might need to do that. And there we go. We've got a suggestion. Vicky says shadow boxing is good. And I know they have like places you can go and break things. I mean, now actually sometimes I'm like, that'd be kind of fun. So to just go to one of those places and break things. But I'm like, I don't think I have like that energy now. Like, 20 years ago, yes, I would have been like, yeah, take me there. So, well, I'm going to wrap up. So thank you very much, everybody who joined. So you can join next week for Tarot Tuesday. So think of a question. I'll be here at 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time with a small panel. And we'll also have divination conversations in between pulling tarot readings. I will be live on Thursday. Don't know my topic yet. And please don't forget to follow Azriel, Alien T, and myself if you're not. And please don't forget to hit the heart button for me so that I go up. And I'm going to let Azriel say like a final goodbye, and if there's anything else he wants to add.
I just want to say, it's been an honor to be here, on a beautiful day, even though it's raining outside, seeing everybody here and hearing your voices, including Alien T's voice, because, you know, he enlightens me and he actually makes me smile. It was great to be here and in the community. Um, just stay positive and don't ever doubt yourself. Once we can appreciate even the smallest things, when we take for a minute and just stop, those Hershey kisses, when you are missing a kiss and actually want to be loved, reach for Hershey's kiss. It's like a commercial. I'm sorry. This is just downloads. Remember, I'm multitasking and, I'm not going to knock it because this is who I am. And I love doing what I do. And I appreciate, everything. And I just want, everybody to remember just to stay positive and never doubt themselves, because, you are the greatest gift and you are the greatest individual that you may ever meet. You can always look outside for inspiration, but it's within yourself where the true magic begins.
It really is. Thank you, Azrael. That was beautiful. All right, Alien T, any last words and for your goodbye?
Yeah, thank you for having me up here. You always create a nice, comfortable, uh, enlightened room, and it's always that's why I come around whenever I see you on, or whenever I have a chance. My final thoughts would be based on what I've been reading in the comments and picking up energetically. Have trust in the fact that the universe loves you and wants to see you succeed and grow, and will assist you in doing so. There's nothing to fear. That's all.
That's so beautiful.
Yeah,
You
much love, everyone.
and thank you so much, Alien T. I am so glad to be part of this community with Azrael and Alien T. They're both wonderful. So please don't forget to follow their lives this week. And if you're not subscribed to myself or Azrael or Alien T, please make sure you follow and subscribe to them. And hit them up. Alien T's lives tomorrow. Azrael and I have one going on Thursday. So please come back and join us then. And my final thought is remember that it's always possible to heal. Be positive and let your authentic self out. So don't be afraid because you have a beauty that no one else has, and you have beautiful gifts and talents that no one else has that will inspire creativity and love and compassion with everybody around you. So as always, merry meet, merry part, bright blessings, and namaste.
Namaste.
Namaste, everybody.
Namaste.